This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Panel, side negative does not care about the people in the country. Now, their case, what they're bringing for us is that all they're fighting for is that their government wants money, right? Now, Panel, what are the clash points of this debate? First of all, the policies, the clash point of policies. Both policies are in place in the country, but now they come and tell us about sustainability. We give them a POI and ask them, how effective is sensitization in Uganda? They came and told us about the other sensitization acts, but now we are talking about the recycling acts, right? So, Pano, the effectiveness is that incentives don't have to solely be implemented by the government as they want. Rather, there are also EPRs, such as the company is going to extend their role to the consumers, whereby the company is going to increase the price of the packaging, whereby the consumers are also going to be affected, right? Now, Pano, they come and talk about fear, but they come and tell us that fear can be a major factor in this debate. But Pano, as we have seen, both policies are in place, right? So fear, as to the current population, people actually dodge these laws. And they dodge these laws because they did not come and tell us how they are strengthening their penalties, right? They just come and tell us that fear is going to scare these people and then they're going to pay the penalties. But as you have been seeing, people have been dodging these taxes again and again. Now, that's where our point of low administrative capacity comes in. Uganda has low administrative capacity, so the point of fear is not actually going to work because the administrative capacity is actually less. Now, Pano, they come and tell us about how the amount of money, and they pick a leaf from the United States, right? But Pano, on the point again on the amount of money, it still brings us back to the part where government is not the only one which is participating in this program. Rather, also the company is going to be participating with the EPRs. Now, what is our case? Our case was that we are going to incentivizing is going to be the better option because we have proven how it has achieved a high response, how it has mitigated family funding constraints, and how it has caused an effective administrative. And we have showed you this because our government is actually going to work with the consumers, the producers, and whereby we are all going to collect rejected, whereby we are all going to participate in this program other than just put penalties and want money back again and again. Now, Pano, how are the incentives going to actually be outsourced? Now, there are schemes called the deposit return schemes that I've been telling you about, such as the EPRs, whereby the people in return waste to the companies, and then they also gain. So, Pano, what's exclusive about our side to theirs? Our side is better than theirs because theirs does not actually strengthen the current policy, rather they are just ranting on about the penalties. But Pano, on our side, we come and show you that with work with the government, the consumers and producers, we are all going to work together rather than the current policy that has been there, whereby only one side was working. But now, both sides are going to be working, and this is going to be achieved at a higher rate than theirs because they only come and tell us about how they want money from the people. But we come and show you that all sides are going to benefit, where waste is going to reduce, and also the people are going to benefit from this program. We win the debate because of the effectiveness of our side, the ability of our side to show you how we strengthen incentives rather than they sustain the current policies. I rest my case.
Recycling programs should focus more on incentivizing participation than penalizing non-compliance. Resolved Nambozo, Lakeside College Duzira. Ladies and gentlemen, the question in the House today is whether incentivizing of participation or should it be focused more compared to the penalizing of non-compliance, whereby team negative we come up telling the team affirmative and the audience at large that recycling programs should basically focus on penalizing non-compliance. Ladies and gentlemen, we look at the key questions in today's resolution. Number one, with the incentives that are being provided by team affirmative, how is it going to be effective in the country? Questions like, number one, we look at the economic viability, ladies and gentlemen. We look at sustainability. We look at the feasibility. That is, how easy is it to implement? Then we look at the social impact, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, team affirmative comes and tells us that they are looking at social behavioral impacts, ladies and gentlemen, whereby when they give out the incentives, it's going to affect these people, whereby they'll be earning, they'll be getting, and they are looking more at earning jobs, ladies and gentlemen. But we come and tell team affirmative that with social impact, the the penalizing of non-compliant people, ladies and gentlemen, impacts fear. Impacting fear in what case? When they impact fear, ladies and gentlemen, a person will be able to know that if I do not do this, I'm liable to this and this punishment, ladies and gentlemen. In that case, they are saving a lot of money. They are earning income, ladies and gentlemen, because a company would not like to lose a lot of income because of just the mere fact that they are not recycling, ladies and gentlemen. So the fact that Team Negative is telling you that they are impacting fear, ladies and gentlemen, is a key factor, because if we impact fear in the audience, if we impact fear into the citizens, they will know that this is wrong. And furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, before they put up the penalizations, ladies and gentlemen, or the penalties, they are always told, because if a person is to be penalized, they should know why they are being penalized. So these people, before they are penalized, they are told that you have not done this and this, you have littered, you have not recycled, you have not done this and this is why you're going to prison, this is why you're paying this amount of money. So we are telling Team Affirmative that if penalizing, we are telling Team Affirmative that penalizing of non-compliance will be very effective in a way that people will have the fear, which will not lead them to do things that are not allowed, ladies and gentlemen. Then we go to economic viability. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Affirmative, their first speaker and second speaker press the point of Uganda is a developing country, ladies and gentlemen. It is well known. Uganda is a developing country. Then what are we doing about it, ladies and gentlemen? They come up with the incentives. Incentives concern money, ladies and gentlemen. They are not going to reward people just because of the things they are using. What are you going to use to reward these people? That is economically economic problem, ladies and gentlemen. And in a country like Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, how are you going to handle the income, ladies and gentlemen? This is why we come and give you a better alternative that will be focused more. That is penalizing of the non-compliant citizens in a way that the penalties are already in place, meaning that they have to be followed in a way that they will know that I've done this and this, there is a penalty for it, ladies and gentlemen. Then another thing is sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, recycling is talked about among the SDGs, and that is SDG number 12. Ladies and gentlemen, sustainable means something that is going to take time. It's going to be implemented, and there will be sustainable development. Now, Team Affirmative comes and gives us something. Now, what if the country runs out of money? What if these organizations run out of money? Are the incentives going to remain there? Is the incentivizing of people going to remain just like that, whereby we are looking at penalties as Team Negatives, penalties that are going to last, penalties that are already there, penalties that are going to benefit the country in proper recycling programs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we come and tell them that that it's a better alternative. With this, I would love to rest my case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.